I'm Aaron Weeb. You are watching Uncut Angling. Last weekend, I had the great pleasure of fishing a brand new fishing tournament with my sister Carrie on Lake of the Woods. We are at the Kenora Walleye Open. KWO, baby. Am I really close?
No. Just don't come any closer.
We're both 115. So
if you come any closer, it'll be one of these.
One of who's? Ooh, close talker. We got a close talker on set here, folks.
I got all sorts of stuff I'm going with here. Rigging. I don't know. Carrie, tell them a bit about our pre-fish.
Aaron let me bass fish for 10 minutes yesterday, and that was awesome.
You guys swirled it around.
Well, I don't really remember. We caught a little bit of everything, but nothing that would do any good today, I don't think.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
We caught one that just kissed 15 or 16.
I don't know. We got all sorts of rods here, bottom bouncers and deep crankbaits and stuff for all sorts of walleyes on Lake of the Woods. But one important rod to always pack in your boat when you're on Lake of the Woods doing anything is a 9'6" Shimano Compre. Loaded up with a number 8 Weebworm Dadson blade bait bucktail.
Did you say weeb worm?
Yeah, Weebworm's the color, named after my tapeworm. You know, you wouldn't go into the mountains into grizzly bear country without a shotgun, so why would you go out on Lake of the Woods without a musky rod ready for what?
Is this my surprise? Are we going musky fishing?
We're not going musky fishing, but we're gonna keep it in mind. It's like you gotta carry the heavy artillery just in case.
I feel like I'm inside a video of Uncut Angling that I watch online. Did you just have all that prepared, or was that off the top of your head?
Always.
I didn't know that I was supposed to prepare a script for today.
Here we go! We are the last boat, boat number 115, and they are just calling out one number 112, maybe 113.
Yep.
And then we get to go.
Oh, then it's our turn.
Then we're going walleye fishing.
No, musky fishing.
I think we're going walleye fishing.
114. Oh my goodness. 115.
Woo! We're really doing it.
We're really doing it!
Let me preface this with telling you a little bit about our pre-fish. This event came from Menaki. JP Kennedy was running it out there with his great volunteers. He brings it over to Lake of the Woods this year for the first time, expands the field to 100+ boats, immediately sells out. So right off the bat, this event has so much epic grandeur to it, and it's for the reason that it's a Lake of the Woods walleye tournament. The angling population as a whole, especially anywhere around here, whether it's Manitoba, Northwestern Ontario, Minnesota, there is no water body or species that would have a more common link than walleyes on Lake of the Woods. More people have done that and targeted that than anything else. So what that does is everyone has background on it, has experience on it, has interest in it. For myself, I had a terrible pre-fish, but with a few phone calls, and I'm not necessarily begging for info, but I'll take whatever I can get after really bad pre-fish. My friend Mike Shamber set me up basically with everything I needed for top locations to go for big fish, how to catch them, that I owe him incredibly. He's been on Uncut Angling before on a lot of our crappie shows, and we went out there the first morning, day one, and put his information to use, and
we just caught a 27.5.
How many minutes into fishing are we?
Oh, well, what time is it? Maybe 10? 10 minutes into fishing, and Aaron catches a 7-pound, 3 ounces, I think it was.
Giant walleye. We are very, very happy with that fish.
We are in the game.
We're just deciding right now whether we should be running that fishing or not, because we're so excited. We're so excited.
Just focus on little ones all day.
so we've got this big fish now on our hands, and we have a bit of a decision to make. The way the tournament format is that each day you're allowed to weigh in one fish over 23 inches and the remainder under 18 inches, or else all 4 under 18 inches. Roughly paralleling what the angling regulations are on Lake of the Woods. The regulations are 1 fish per day to be retained over 18 inches. And what JP self-imposed on his tournament was that everything between 18 and 23 inches had to be released. And I think that's largely based on JP wanting to protect those prime breeding fish between 18 and 23 inches, which is pretty cool. So we had to make a decision now because we caught this 7 and change fish since it was first thing in the morning, and we had a bad pre-fish, and as you saw, it was rolling a little bit in the live well, so we took it in.
First boat in? Are we the first boat in?
Yeah.
You are the first boat in.
We're back right away. The nice big walleye to weigh in here. They get bigger on Lake of the Woods, but we just wanted to rush this fish in, get it to weigh in nice and quick here, and then head back out and upgrade on some slots. Yeah. Okay, Carrie, let's do this. Look at that hog, baby!
733.
So now that we had a big one weighed in, we just had to focus on getting 3 nice slot fish, which is as close as we can get to 18 inches without going over. My buddy Darcy Cox from Tank Industries Guide Service, Muskie Specialty Guide Service, but he does every species of fish on Lake of the Woods, and he hooked me up so hard the night before. He marked a map with like 6 spots that he would recommend going for slot fish. And I'll just show you a couple things here. This is something that makes bottom bouncing so much more enjoyable. Right here is my bottom bouncer rig and spinner. I like using a rig that has 2 hooks. And that way I can hook 2 leeches on there, or if I'm using a big crawler, I can hook it twice. It makes a big difference. A lot of bottom bouncer rigs come with tiny hooks, or else if it's just a single on the rig, they're like giant hooks, like 2-aught or something. So that's the size I like about a size number 1. It's not too particular. But the big thing here that I want to point out is using a clip like that. Slides on the line. This is where I'm going to attach the bottom bouncer to, and I think this is technology that Northland Tackle started. Here is a standard bottom bouncer, and this is the style that is meant to clip onto here. So you can see it doesn't have the extra arm off of it. And what that allows me to do is not have it smashing against my rod when it's in storage and getting all tangled up and everything. You can see it's a nice, tight, organized system. I can clip this on super easily. I'm just going to push that into the clip, and you can see just like that, it's attached. So if I need to change out the size of weight, I can do that very easily. The other thing is if I get snagged, this will actually break off of that clip and I won't lose my whole rig. So there's just so many reasons why this is a way slicker system. What you can do is if you don't have these specialty ones, see these ones that don't have the extra arm on it, what you can do is you can take the ones that have the bend in them, and with a pair of pliers or just with your hand, you can just wrap that around the shank like this, and now you can just attach it right here and use it the same way. You get rid of that extra arm and it's ready to go. Because sometimes it's not easy to find these specialty ones, and you can get these clips from Northland, but if you search bottom bouncer quick change, you can probably find them available from a few different places and buy them bulk. In terms of the blade and stuff, the color isn't that particular. It's more a matter of just keeping contact with the bottom. What we ended up doing is we were using leeches and crawlers, and then if we got on a lot of fish, we were switching over and using gulp leech, gulp crawler. It was a lot more durable if we were on a lot of fish, but we could sort through them a little bit quicker. So we're in the process of sorting through our slots quick and upgrading our 17 inchers, 17 and a quarter, 17 and a half inchers, when all of a sudden,
Oh my goodness, is that ever big, Carrie?
well, we just experienced what nobody wants to experience when they're in a walleye tournament. We caught a hog!
Carrie and I here, Kenora Walleye Open, an absolute giant. The catch is we already weighed in our overfish for the day. We made the gamble that we didn't want to keep it in the live well, otherwise we would be bumping up big time with this fish right now. So live and you learn. We're gonna put him right back in the water here. Still appreciate catching him. Oh, look at that hog!
Okay, big girl.
Lake of the Woods, baby. Kenora Walleye Open. We are going to bring it on day 2. We got decent slots to fill out that, what did we catch, 7.5 pounder this morning? That was probably close to a 9 pounder. Giant walleye. So much fun.
That fish would have been an awesome upgrade, obviously, but everybody's playing by the same rules. We had already weighed our big fish in the morning, so no regrets. And here is our check-in on day 2 in the morning.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now.
Day 2 here. We're just idling in the bay. We're about 1:15 at the Kenora Walleye Open. You can see
2-minute warning.
Al is over there shouting about it being the 2-minute warning. We've got an abundance of fishing rods rigged up here. Everything from crankbaits to...
Musky bait.
We do have one musky bait rigged. Are we going to use that musky bait today, Carrie?
Aaron's gonna take me musky fishing. He said if I catch a 32-inch walleye, we could call it a day and go musky fishing. Love them muskies.
Our pattern yesterday was...
Twitch, pause.
we did some rigging. We did some bottom bouncing. We did a lot of like presenting live bait in different ways. Very exciting. Caught
Many different ways, many different baits.
tons of fish, and I believe that today we're going to be using batty baits more so. We got a stack right there, ready to hit the water. Basically, the feeling on it is that if we get another 7-pounder, we're probably going to hold our spot, maybe move up a little bit, but really go for the W. No, yeah, use 2 hands though. I'd go like this. Then use 2 hands. Yeah. We're going to need a big one. So we're going to troll crankbaits and really try and pull out like
10.72.
10.72, because then we get the big fish of the tournament too. So
Look out!
So we charge back out there basically with the game plan of trolling crankbaits and getting a giant kicker fish to get us back in the game. And we troll a main lake island, a good size island. I catch 2 kind of little pike or whatever, and it just didn't feel like we were doing justice to what we need to be doing. And I had marked a ton of fish on one slope of the island. So we agreed to put the crankbait rods away and rig or bottom bounce, I can't remember. I think we did a little bit of both, those fish. And we're sorting through slots, and then all of a sudden, Carrie hooks up with a heavy fish.
I'm the crazy cricket. What? I'm the crazy cricket. I'm back here in the Illumicraft live well, day 2 of Kenora.
keep going.
Of the Kenora Walleye Open. Yesterday Aaron hogged all the 28 inchers, so today I found my own.
Whoa!
It's a beautiful fish, and here I had just said we should leave this spot, and then we hooked onto this beauty.
So a couple more slots and we're looking, are we in good shape maybe?
I think so, yep.
Woo! We got 1 good slot. We just need to maybe get 2 more good slots and things are looking go, 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 go.
Now that we've got this big fish, even though it's not as big as we'd ideally like, we're kind of forced into a situation where we've got to focus on our slots for a bit before going back to cranking. You hear me talking about switching between techniques, and this is something I get grief for. Everybody thinks they're a funny man. Oh, do you have enough rods in the boat? Yada, yada. And you can see I got a lot of fishing rods in the boat at all times. And it just makes it so easy to switch between techniques. And you can get away with a lot less rods. In fact, if I wanted to move out of the basement of my parents' house at some point, I'd probably sell some of these rods. But I fall in love with every single rod that I get, and it's hard to give them up. And when you got 2 anglers in the boat, you need to have 1 rigged up with each technique for each person. So we've got about 10 rods here, and that's accounting for 2 jigging rods, 2 Lindy rig rods, 2 crankbait rods. The thing that might be in excess, if anything, is that I've got 4 bottom bouncing rods. And that's because I've got 2 10'6" Loomis steelhead rods for using giant bottom bouncers in current. This is a 4-ounce weight on here. I actually don't have a clip, as I described earlier on this one. It's the arm style because I ran out of clips during the tournament. When you're using that heavy of a bottom bouncer, you can't really use that on a standard rod, which is why I've got it on the oversized steelhead rod. It's got a long, slow action, so it can handle the big bottom bouncers or else the planer boards. Definitely a specialty rod situation with a small Cronarch reel and 15-pound Power Pro to really cut the current and go into the deep water. The other bottom bouncer rods that we have, also I have 15-pound Power Pro on there, and these ones are a standard bottom bouncer action, 7'1" medium heavy. And this isn't the same medium heavy you'd find in a bass rod. This is a much slower action, okay? And slower action means that the bend is further down into the rod, and that way when you put a bottom bouncer on these rods, and you don't put a 4-ounce bottom bouncer on these rods, but when you put like a 2-ounce or a 1.5-ounce bottom bouncer on these rods, it doesn't max out the rod, okay? So you don't want a really fast tip on it. You want more of a moderate action, so the bottom bouncer loads up the rod, but you still have power and sensitivity to feel and to fight a fish on there. It's key to have that a slower action. You could probably get by using like a heavy crankbait rod or something like that. That's for bottom bouncing, which is what we ended up sticking with for most of that day as we're sorting through slots. It's a really effective way to cover water as you're going down shorelines and stuff and pick through fish. We had been back on that program after Carrie's big fish for an hour or 2, and I hooked up with a big one.
Here's what's happening. We are replacing this 28 incher with this 29 incher. Woo! Carrie caught the 28. And that fish is in amazing shape. There's a 29, over 8 pounds. That's what we're talking about, baby. That's what we're talking about. We're going for this! Yes!
We were so blessed with our big fish bites. On day 2, our slots weren't as good as they could have been. We still had overall a bigger weight than we had on day 1, which was good to launch us from 8th place all the way in to 4th place and get a check for $3,500, a Minn Kota 70-pound thrust bow mount trolling motor, which is the absolute perfect trolling motor that I need to put on my V16. I want to congratulate Dean Guarino and Mike Panero for winning the first ever Kenora Walleye Open. They won over 20 grand in cash and prizes, which leads me to the entry form for next year's event. That's going to be July 2nd and 3rd, 2016. Put that in your calendar. They're increasing the field, but it's going to sell out right away. The hype's going to be through the roof. The prizes are going to be bigger. Everything is going to be bigger and better and more awesome. I'm so thrilled that Carrie and I were able to fish the inaugural event, and I can't wait to see this thing get massive.